Hello and what's up? Welcome back to another week of the Unnamed Comics Podcast. One sec, I just realized that they can't hear you for some reason. Wait, try now? Talk?
Woo woo.
Perfect. We did it. We fixed it instantly.
Novissimo. We did it.
No one even knows. No one noticed.
Good.
That's because we're.
Yeah, nothing happened.
There's an amount of genius here. I'll just say it. At play, not to toot my own horn, but toot toot.
Toot away.
Yeah. So last week we left off talking about the DC comics timeline, right? We went
Yep.
from 1938 to 2010, which
Yep. And
was crazy.
yeah, and then we ended it with Flashpoint.
Yeah.
And then now is the new 52.
Now it's the New 52. But before that, uh there's been some recent news today. There was a little news today before we started, and I want to get your take on it.
Oh,
The
I haven't heard anything.
Guardians of the Galaxy game. I want to talk about it on the
Oh.
podcast a little bit
Mhm.
because I think we're on the same page about it.
Yeah,
Like,
Square Enix kind of failed with the Avengers game. And I don't see them panning out any better with the Guardians of the Galaxy game.
well, I will say this: it's not the same development team.
Yeah. Like it still it
It's
still looks like to have that flow.
Yeah. I mean, I know for a fact that it's not the same gameplay style as the Avengers game.
Mm.
Like, it's more of a linear ish action adventure. Like,
Okay. All right.
so
I
you might like it more. It has like choices and things, like you can do dialogue options that will change the story.
Okay, all right. I'm already a lot more on board than what I initially was. I thought it
Yeah.
was just a copy and paste of Avengers into Guardians of the Galaxy.
No. Like, and that's the good news. It's gonna be a lot more fun.
I like the redesigns of the characters.
Did you? I thought here's my thing. I like the designs, but they also feel a little like off. They feel a little off. You know what I
Like how
mean?
so?
Like they feel so close to like the for some of them they feel so close to like the MCU
Hmm.
designs that it's like it's just like it's a little off.
I mean, I don't know. Like I'm getting a lot of comic vibes from
Yeah.
the way they look, because Drax in the comics is green and his tattoos are red, and like
Yeah.
they definitely redid the tattoos where instead of like it being like the tribal swirls is just like barcodes is like the best way I can describe them on his back.
Yeah. He's
Um,
doing a little Hitman something.
uh, I like Groot's new kind of armored look with the tree roots coming out the back.
Yeah, I like what they did
Uh,
with Groot. I think the one that was like kind of like they could have done more was Gamora.
mhm.
I think Gamora's design is just like it looks like uh blocky spacesuit, you know?
Yeah, but like that's also what she wears in the comics.
Yeah, I know. But like if you're gonna like take a character like and redesign her, you don't take like the most boring design for that character,
Yeah.
you know?
I know for the initial launch of the game, they're gonna have like their classic comic suits.
Yeah, I think it's a pre-order bonus. So
Mm-hmm. Star Lord looks like Star Lord.
yeah.
Like you can't really fuck that up.
Yeah, he looks like you know who he looks like, and I called this right away on stream earlier. He looks like Troy Baker.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, and I'm like, if Troy Baker isn't voicing him, I don't know why they did that.
He's a handsome man. Why not?
Well, yeah, but like, I mean, it's kind of like that's what you usually like. You make a character look like the actor that's playing them,
Yeah,
like for voice acting. Uh,
yeah.
it's why
Um,
Nathan Drake looks like Nolan North in the fourth Uncharted
mhm.
game.
And then Rocket is just Rocket. Like again, another character you can't really fuck up.
Yeah,
You give machine guns to a raccoon, and there you go.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
I'm pretty. I'm tentatively looking forward to it. I'm kind of like I'm not gonna get it on launch,
yeah, absolutely not.
but
Square Enix and CD Projekt Red, I am now wary of.
yeah, I don't pre-order games anymore unless it's like 2 days before.
Mm.
You know, like it's that's the maximum I'll do it.
No, I don't think I've pre-ordered a game s- not since the PS4 and the Xbox One came out.
Oh yeah,
Like the only time I pre-ordered was when I had my Xbox 360, and like that was at GameStop.
yeah, because you used to pre-order games to make sure that you got a copy,
Yep.
but now that we're in the age of digital, it's kind of like
Yeah, like I could play it like 3 days before anybody who gets the hard copy with the digital.
yeah, like that's kind of the thing. I used to wait outside to like I used to like go to GameStop and do midnight release.
I did that once and it was not fun, and I'm never doing it again.
Yeah, I did it for Assassin's Creed. I think two of the Assassin's Creed games.
I can't even tell you what game I did it for.
Yeah, I can't remember. Like I've done it a couple times, but like it's there's usually good energy. I waited outside for a Switch for from like midnight till 8 a.m. when it was
Oof.
freezing outside. That was like I got like a launch Switch from Target in Boston. Verge came with me. Verge waited outside with me, and then he didn't even get a Switch.
Yeah, no, I'm good with. I'm not a huge Nintendo fan. After the Game Boy Advance, I was done with it.
Yeah, I'm uh I'm very excited to see what Nintendo does on Tuesday. But now that we've gotten our little bit of comics gaming news out of the way,
New 52.
where do we begin? Should
Um,
we recap a little bit about what was like the idea behind the new 52?
yeah, the New 52 was basically just taking the heroes that you knew and then just completely modernizing them into 2011. Besides Batman,
Besides Batman
uh,
and Green Lantern,
because those two had their comic book runs that
they were doing
stayed
so well.
canonical throughout the most of it.
It's the
Like there were
sales.
there were a few retcons here and there,
Mm-hmm.
like with I know one of them was with Jason Todd, um, because they explained it so that it wasn't a Superboy Prime punching through the universes, that it was Talia al Ghul who took his body and put him in a Lazarus pit.
Was that a new 52 retcon? I thought that was
That
like
was a
just
New
I
52
thought that was
retcon.
an under the red hood retcon.
That was a was it an Under the Red Hood retcon?
Yeah, I thought that happened before the new 52. But I know that happened to Jason Todd. I just don't know that it happened at the new 52. But either way,
Mhm.
that is something that happened. It used to be that the Superboy Prime Punch was what brought Jason Todd back, and then it was
Yep.
Lazarus Pit. So that
Um,
was a
it,
continuity change. I don't know that it
uh,
matters when it happened.
no. Green Lantern was still the status quo. Yeah, and then the main changes were to Superman and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Superman, Wonder Woman, the Flash becoming Barry Allen again.
Yep. And
Like
they
they,
also redid Cyborg.
yeah, Cyborg becoming a bigger part of like like a Justice League like member.
Yeah, like he did it in the New 52. He didn't join the Teen Titans as he
Yeah,
originally did. He just straight joined the Big Seven with Justice League.
I think that's because in the originally the New 52, the Teen Titans was formed for the first time by Tim
Yeah.
Drake because
Yep. They redid it all.
yeah, which means that like none of the Teen Titans like those relationships were really around. Like so Nightwing wasn't like close with that many
Tim.
people.
Yeah. And but like it was still weird though, because like Red Hood and the Outlaws, it was Red Hood, Starfire, and
Yeah.
Bizarro. No. Red Arrow. It was Red Arrow first. Bizarro came later.
Yeah, it was Red Hood, Starfire, and Arsenal.
In Arsenal.
Um,
Yeah, and like Starfire had a vague, like she lost her memory and like had vaguely remembered Dick Grayson and her being in a relationship.
yeah, which I don't know how they fit that into the continuity because the Teen Titans weren't a thing,
Yeah. And that was
or
like
they
another retcon
were.
for Rebirth.
It's so confusing.
Yeah, they retconned it and fixed it all in Rebirth, which
Yeah,
we'll get to.
Rebirth was
Um,
Rebirth was why I was like, okay, it all makes sense now.
yeah, but yeah, no, I think the main nexus point is Superman,
Yeah, Superman
because like
changed a lot. Like,
because like the first Justice League run was all the characters meeting each other for the very first time.
wait, sorry. Uh, Jeff, are you saying that I have Mike Echo or he has Mike Echo? Sorry, we're getting I just want to make sure like the sound does. He has Mike Echo.
Mhm.
I don't hear it.
Do I have Mike Echo?
You
It
have
could
like
just be the way I'm talking.
I think you just have a little bit of reverb in your room, which
Mm.
isn't. It's just it's your phone pickup. Well, it's fine.
All right.
You sound fine. You're coming through. I don't want to deal with last week's technical difficulties.
Mm.
If
What
it
is it?
becomes unbearable, let me know.
Yeah. What
Um,
was I saying?
you were saying that the Nexus was the changes to Superman, which were
Yeah,
easily the biggest and the most controversial of the New 52.
yeah, because the new 52 Superman, instead of like, yes, he was like he Krypton exploded, he got sent off. He landed in Smallville, but this Clark Kent's parents are dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them are dead. Because I know in the original run, Jonathan Kent died of a heart attack.
Jonathan Kent dies all the fucking time.
And then it was just Martha Kent who
Like,
was just like on the farm. But in the
yeah.
new 52, both his parents died on
You,
their way to pick him up from prom.
yeah, I think like the implication that we see like in the Doomsday Clock series is that it happens on their way leaving him from prom because they just dropped him off and they're like giving him like that pep talk.
Mm.
And then like they seem to be driving off and they're like, I'm worried about Clark. Like, and then it's like
Then
hit by or they no, they get run off the road
yeah,
and they
and
hit a
so
tree.
this
Yeah.
Clark is kind of m- more willing to push the envelope
Yeah.
with a lot of things.
In the Action Comics, New 52, he drops like a prominent like political figure in
In Metropolis,
Metropolis
yeah,
off of a building and then catches him like to make him he's doing like investigative journalism and stuff, but he's also like
like pressuring like
pressuring like
the
yeah,
corrupt
criminals.
head offices.
Like not people who would be like who are like they're doing illegal things, but they're not uh like a rogues gallery or something. They're just like
No, this is just
bad
government.
politicians. They're government officials.
Yeah, and he's like those first few issues, it felt like a very amateurish Batman because
Yeah,
he is threatening a lot of these people.
and it's weird to see Superman like that. It tells you right away that it's not the Clark Kent that you're used to.
Yeah, because he is a lot younger. He's like only 19,
Yeah,
19,
well,
20.
yeah, like 1920. Maybe, I think he's probably like at least 21 realistically.
But he's still like a young adult
Yeah, he's a young adult. He's in
who
his early 20s.
with like the powers that he has would probably with the things he's been doing as a young adult.
Yeah, it's just like, and for me, I think I went back this past week because of last week. You were talking about how much you loved the New 52 Superman. How he's your Superman, and I was like, I never felt that, so I was like, maybe I should go and give it another chance. So
Hmm.
I started reading Action Comics New 52, and I think because at the time for me, all of the stories that I was interested in reading had disappeared. You know, essentially, like the characters like
Yeah,
that.
all your favorite ones kind of got like shut down immediately,
Yeah,
non like full stop,
they got
and then
axed.
these new ones came out.
Yeah, and it's like I saw no remnant of the characters that I was used to in there,
Mhm.
and starting up a new like iteration of something after you've invested so much in a character is, I mean, you know, it's a lot
It's
to
rough.
ask. It's a lot
It's
to ask
rough.
for your readers.
Yeah, and like
Um,
I think that's why still love the Batman run
yeah,
because that was still consistent.
yeah, it was consistent, and it brought new things in, like made Gotham more interesting by adding the Court of Owls, which is like one of the best additions to like the mythos. It expanded
Yeah, that's still come around,
its expansion of the mythos rather than like
restarting it.
yeah, restarting it, which is what I always want from comics. Like
Hmm.
I don't mind retcons like either. Like I think saying that Parallax was is like an entity that possessed Hal Jordan is way more interesting than Hal Jordan just turning evil one day,
Yeah, and then
right?
calling himself Parallax.
Yeah. So, but I think now reading it now, I'm like, okay, if I had never read Superman before that, like if I was like fresh on it when back in 2011, I probably would have really enjoyed this. And now
Hmm.
that I know that the Superman that I like, that I'm used to and everything, and like all these characters eventually like kind of come back to a almost a pre New 52 status quo at some
Yeah,
point.
they come back to the new normal.
Yeah, it's kind of like a new normal, and like it's a blend of like the best of both worlds. With
Hmm.
Rebirth, which is the next like um publishing like initiative, the next big publishing initiative that takes place 5 years after this.
Yeah, and
Um,
then
I
the start
enjoyed
for
it a lot more.
Rebirth and the start for Rebirth too also kind of centered around Superman
Yeah, well, it's centered around Superman and Wally West, which were who were both from the pre New 52
timeline. Yep.
timeline, which is how they were like, okay, we heard you, we took everything that you we were taking the things that you loved about the original DC timeline, and we're gonna take the things that you love from the New 52, and we're gonna put them together,
Yep.
and that's why I think Rebirth was so successful. But the New 52 was so it was kind of trouble because a lot of fans were getting like kind of whiplash. I was one of them.
Hmm.
For you, this is when you started reading comic books,
Yeah, like heavily reading comic
like
books.
a lot. So,
Yep, to the point where I bought all New 52 runs of every single comic.
which I don't even know like that had to have like drained your wallet. Like
Yes. And the majority of it though I did get in bundle sales, so I think I saved myself
yeah,
there. But yeah, I easily spent at least $500,
yeah.
like the full volumes plus like the side stories to the full volumes,
I'm
which
shocked it's not more.
that in itself is a volume.
Yeah. I mean, five hundred
Because like
dollars is 100 issues of comics.
because like the Court of Owls, they had the Batman Court of Owls run, and then they had the side ones with Robin, Nightwing, Red Robin, uh, Red Hood,
Yeah,
Batgirl, and then that was its own separate book. And then it was the overarching one, which was its own separate book, and
yeah,
then the finale. It was like the Court of Owls timeline was like maybe 5 volumes.
yeah. Like I think the thing is Scott Snyder's Batman run
Amazing, perfection.
is so good that it's hard to like move on from that. Like so, and I think it's why a lot of people like didn't enjoy the next what happened after that. I think there were people that were interested in like Jim Gordon becoming Batman for a bit, but like
But it lost its like
yeah,
flair.
it's like oh that's interesting for an issue or two.
And like the story
It lasted a
Scott
bit
Snyder
more.
did with Batman was amazing.
Yeah,
And like the it and it I'm glad it expanded on Batman as himself, but also the Joker.
yeah. The Joker
as making
mythos,
that making him this bigger threat to the universe.
this primordial being kind of thing, which
Yeah,
we're still not clear on what exactly or who exactly the Joker is.
yeah.
Like,
I do wanna do an episode on the three Jokers.
I do too. I think that's its own thing. I agree.
But yeah, getting back to the
The New
changes the New
52 as
Fifty
a
Two
whole.
brought. Superman being one of the main ones, but then also
Heroes have
having the
only been around for
characters.
like 5 years. That's one of the
Yeah,
ones.
and then having them meet in the Justice League run, and kind of in that first run after reading it again, it set up a lot when they fought Darkseid for
Yeah,
the first time.
the person because it ends with them fighting Darkseid, doesn't it? Darkseid War isn't like that the end of the New 52.
That's the end of the New 52.
Yeah,
Is the Darkseid War,
which is
and then
insane. I
the death of that Superman.
yeah, Lois
Um,
Lane exposing that Superman is Clark Kent.
dude, like so many
There are a lot of
changes.
like big moments that are kind of like, but it's almost like they didn't have lasting impact for some of them. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, because like they had all these things, and then Convergence happened,
Yeah. Um.
which also kind of like hard stopped a lot of the side stories and everything
Yeah.
for the New 52.
But
And then it was like, okay, we're dealing with Convergence.
before we get into Convergence, let's talk about your favorite New 52 like moments, right? Because like
Favorite New 52 moments.
and
I have a few.
let's talk about that, and then let's talk a little bit about DCU because I think as a you know what I'm talking about, the DCU and like branding initiative, like the
Mm-mm.
no, okay, well, it's essentially like the James Gordon stuff and like all that, but like I can explain it after we talk about this.
Yeah. So highlights of the New 52, definitely the Superman run, because there's a standalone comic, Superman Unleashed,
Yes,
which is like its own separate thing from the rest of the Superman run,
which I
which
read,
went
which I
into,
liked
yeah, and it
at the
was
time. Like I
amazing.
was like, it's really good.
Um, Obviously, the Court of Owls for Batman.
Yeah,
Um, Green Lantern was pretty solid throughout the entire run of the New 52.
yeah, you can't really fuck it up.
Superman Hell on Earth was another good run
Yeah,
where they kind of like bridged a gap between the past and today and kind of set the door for Jor-El to come back later in Rebirth.
yeah, which was insane.
Yeah. Forever Evil when they brought back Earth 3
Yeah, Forever
and
Evil is one of like I think it's the one of the biggest like moments in the New 52. Forever Evil being they bring back Earth 3, which is like the evil Justice League,
yep,
essentially.
the polarities of good and evil are
Yeah,
reversed, so whoever's evil on this Earth is now good on that and vice versa.
yeah, and it also saw like the main DC Lex Luthor becoming a good guy,
A member of the Justice
like
League.
genuinely trying to become a hero. Um, it also saw like Dick Grayson become a secret agent.
Oh yeah, with the Dick Grayson run.
What did you think of Grayson, like Agent of
Um,
Spiral?
I enjoyed Agent of Spiral
I enjoyed it for
because
what it was.
it went through a lot of the background things that
Yeah,
secret identities and like stuff like that. It dealt with how people hide their secret identities either really well or not great at all.
yeah, for sure.
And then like Nightwing trying to like run the scenes behind and try to protect the secret identities of the heroes, while also like being on the secret mission from Batman that he can't tell anybody.
Yeah,
Because he got he,
we should also point out that I don't think we brought it up yet in this podcast. I think we brought up last podcast a little bit. Superman doesn't get with Lois Lane,
yeah, no, he gets with Wonder Woman.
which was a huge change for fans. because
it was a big change because Lois Lane is Superman's
it's a
girl.
mainstay. Like
And it was, for me at least, such a breath of fresh air.
it's different.
Yeah, because like it's not the first time we've seen the two together.
Mhm.
In not Superman, Justice League Kingdom Come, they end
Yeah.
up together.
In literally every Elseworlds comic, if something ever happens like Lois Lane, or if Lois Lane's not in the picture, Superman ends up with Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and then like if Superman
Because
and
it,
Lois Lane are a thing, then it's Batman and Wonder Woman.
yeah, because it's easy.
Yeah.
Like Superman and Wonder Woman makes the most sense in the world, which is why it's not the most interesting for writing. I think it's just you don't get the longevity from it. I think
Hmm.
for they got it for as long as they did, and it worked well. You know, they got
Yeah,
five
yeah,
years
and
out
because
of it.
like
Like I don't think
yeah,
they could write
because
more about those two in a relationship because it's like it's too simple.
I me personally, I would have liked if I could have gotten an extra issue of a what if or an Elseworlds of them
Mhm.
two living happily ever after through the New 52 run, I'd be happy.
Yeah,
Um, but it was also interesting because like Wonder Woman was kind of also revamped in the New 52, where she wasn't made from clay. She was actually Zeus's daughter.
yeah. Wasn't there also like a whole thing where she had never been to like Themyscira? Or am I? Is
That
is
was
that
in Rebirth.
Rebirth?
That's Rebirth.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, so Wonder Woman isn't made from clay. Her mother is still Hippolyta, but her father is Zeus, so she is also a demigod.
Yeah,
And then in the New 52 run, she also kills Ares and becomes the new god of war.
yeah. And that like all that stuff happens like as a prelude to Dark Side War, right?
No, that just happened. That
That
was
just
really
happened in a
early on.
run.
Yeah, that happened really early
You
on.
see, I didn't read the Wonder Woman run to. I again, New 52 is where a lot of things kind of drop off for me for a little bit because
Mhm.
I just couldn't get into it because like I've been reading comics for like years before that, so for me it was like this is too much changing. Like I don't know, I have nothing to. I don't have a grasp. I don't have like a hook anywhere.
Yeah,
Right?
if I was to give anybody like the reading recommendations, like to get through the New 52, obviously is Batman.
Yeah, Batman's easy.
Batman, Justice League.
Yeah,
I would suggest, Superman New 52 Action Comics New 52.
I think Action
And
Comics New
then
52 kicks ass.
Wonder Woman, because like it kind of dealt back into the mythology of the Greece world
Yeah,
and like how like these like centaurs or whatever still exist, but like they're like in like underground clubs and like they're basically chilling in like London, the United States, and all these other places.
think Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
Like
Um,
it's the easiest way to
and then
describe it.
also with Aquaman, the New 52 did such great things for Aquaman.
I could never read Aquaman.
I fucking loved the New 52 Aquaman run
I yeah.
because
I've
he
heard
was
it's
about
good.
it. Like the first time you see Aquaman is in the Justice League comic, and that's when he summons the sharks to eat the parademons,
Yeah,
and he's like, "I'm the leader of the Justice League. Fuck all of you."
but that makes me laugh because to me, and I like it's a holdover from me reading comics for so long. To me, Aquaman is just the guy who talks to fucking fish.
And like,
It's hard to break that
yeah,
in my head. It's hard, especially when he's still
and
wearing like the suit and tights. It's why I think like big, like burly, like bearded, like looking more
mhm,
like he's fucking Poseidon kind of
yeah,
fucking guy. Like Aquaman is easier for me to like be like, oh, that's a different like this Aquaman is more interesting. I think the redesign
yeah,
helps a lot, like separate him from his pre New 52 self.
yeah. I will say though, like the Aquaman run is enjoyable if anybody wants to check it out. And
I
like
might.
the first volume, it has that joke where it's like, "Oh, oi, you're the guy who talks to fish, right?" And then he kind of like beats the fuck out of the dude up. He's like, I don't talk to fish, I command them. And then like, it's like that whole first volume is just like him saying fuck you to these tropes.
Yeah,
Like I'm actually a threat. I kill people. Like killing I have no qualms about killing people.
for sure.
Um and then that ties in with another Justice League run, War on Atlantis, which was another great run. So
Mhm.
that's when he becomes the king again for the first time.
But run that back.
Because he was always king of Atlantis, but in the New 52 he wasn't.
Yeah,
He wanted nothing to do with Atlantis.
yeah.
And then he became king again.
That's what I do when I want to become a king of a place. I just stop giving a fuck.
And
Super casual.
in the New 52, was that when Robin dies?
Oh yeah, Damian Wayne dies. That was
Yeah,
fucking crazy.
Damian
Damian
Wayne
Wayne
dies
gets
in like
murdered by like a fucked up clone of him.
yeah, an
Like
aged up
an
clone of him.
aged up, like fucking crazy ass clone of him, made by his mother, kills him. And then Batman, in one of the coolest fucking moments, like makes a armor, like it's like a hell bat, I think is what he calls it.
Hmm.
And he goes to fucking hell and he pulls him out.
He goes to Apocalypse.
Yeah,
Like he goes across the entire Earth looking for like Lazarus pits. He dissects Frankenstein to figure out how he works.
it's so
He
cool.
kind of mentally tortures Jason Todd. To figure out
Yeah,
how he came back to life.
yeah,
Um, and then like he kind of gave up on resurrecting Damien because of he's kind of hurting literally everyone else in the family.
yeah.
And then Darkseid's son, Calibac,
Or isn't
takes
Orion Darkseid's son? Oh, wait,
they're
yeah,
both
he
his
has.
son.
Yeah, they're both his. I was like, I don't know why I'm
Um, Ra's al Ghul
being
digs
picky.
up Talia's and Damien's graves to take them to a Lazarus pit.
Oh yeah, Talia died.
Who gives a fuck about Talia?
I forget. A lot
Um,
happened in
yeah,
that in
so
those issues.
Ra's digs up their graves to take to the Lazarus pit. Batman gets the Justice League involved to stop that from happening. And then in the middle of it, Apocalypse gets involved because I guess there's like a crystal in Damien's casket
Yeah,
that they need.
there's some weird stuff.
Some weird shit. It's
Yeah,
really weird, but it is
really
great.
weird. Not super important, but
No.
yeah.
Um,
In the
and
grand scheme,
then
I barely remember it. So,
Batman loses his shit.
mhm.
The Justice League is kind of like, yo, you need to relax. We want to, but we can't send a full scale war to Apocalypse. And then Batman's like, okay, fine, one man war.
Yeah,
Disables the Justice League, infects Cyborg with the virus, and then takes the Hellbat suit, which was Superman forged it in the middle
yeah.
of the sun.
He used it like in Rebirth too. Um,
Lois Lane used it in Rebirth.
no, he used it in Rebirth.
Did he?
I think Lois Lane did as well. During it was when the what are they called came the el- eliminators, the extern. What are they called?
Uh, uh, mm.
They're like almost robots that
I know what you're
deal.
talking about. I can't remember the name.
They're Kryptonian like fucking things. When
But
that came, she used it.
it's like it's forged in the heart of the sun, reinforced in Hephaestus's forge,
Yeah,
reinforced further in the heart of Atlantis. The Green Lantern worked on it. Cyborg worked on it.
yeah. Everyone like did something to it, gave something to it,
Yeah, and like
and
it
it
was
uses
fueled.
by Batman's life energy.
Yeah, like it like cerebrally tapped into him when it was like, yep, everything that powers you powers the suit.
Yeah. Like so if he uses it like too much, it'll kill him.
And then he just goes to Apocalypse with the rest of the Bat family with like their little Robin insignia armors,
Yeah,
and then they one man it and fuck up Apocalypse.
it's crazy. I think that's one of like I think like Damian Wayne dying, um, and like Batman getting him back, and then like the Joker making them think that their faces have been cut off.
Yeah.
I think those are moments that stick with you from
Mm-hmm.
that Batman run.
Yeah, because like the Batman one did the Joker right, where they didn't overplay him.
Yeah,
Like like he's been in the past, was like, you get through a volume, boom, Joker. Get through another volume, boom, Joker. Joker wasn't a part of the New 52 for a while.
yeah, because they were introducing new stuff, like which was
Um,
great. I'll say this:
and then when they brought him back, it was terrifying.
they've started using him a lot in Rebirth.
Yeah,
Like at
yeah,
the end, like they were like, "Hey, we're Joker did this," and then boom, hey, Joker War, and then hey, new Joker thing.
yep.
But like it was all leading
Um,
up to Joker War, so
hmm
I'm like, okay,
Um, yeah. So those were really like the main
those are
highlights of the New 52.
yeah. There are some other stuff,
And
like definitely that we're not thinking of, but like those are big
yeah,
ones that
which
stick
like
out.
at another time, like it'll probably come up.
Yeah.
Um, but then then New 52 kind of cumulated.
Wait,
Um,
before we get to this, I need to talk a little bit about DCU
yep. Go ahead.
because it's not super important, but it we're doing a DC Comics timeline video, and if I don't talk about it, we haven't done it. Uh, DCU was a initiative by DC to just throw a bunch of like stuff at the table, be like, "Hey, let's do crazy things and not care about continuity at all. Let's not care about like what's happening in other comics. It doesn't matter. Just write whatever
Mm,
you want and we'll like figure it out later." Uh and that's why after like the first like run of Batman for the New 52, where it seems like Bruce Wayne is dead, Jim Gordon becomes Batman for like
oh yeah, at the end of Batman Endgame.
yeah, at the
Yeah,
end of Endgame, Jim Gordon becomes Batman, and that is it's one of those things that wasn't clear if it was in continuity or not until like I don't know, 2 years ago.
yeah. Like recently, where like they kind of like have like the bat suit kind of that Jim
Yeah,
Gordon was in tucked away in the corner,
because it was
and
like
they make
It was like
references to it.
when everyone was getting Jokerized and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was like okay, cool. But it was a very awkward
Because that was also
time.
around the time Superman was losing his powers.
Yeah, yeah,
And like
exactly, and
he was back to the t-shirt and jeans and just like punching everything.
that was part of that imprint. Like
Um
so, like it went when if you're ever reading New 52 and then things start getting like a little weird across all the comics for like you know 30, 40 issues. That's why they just wanted
yeah.
to like throw stuff at you and see what you liked. And comic publishers do this sometimes. Usually they do it as a separate like timeline or something, or they just like they try to like make a universe out of it, a small mini series. But DC was like, no, line wide change. Let's just
Mm.
try stuff. Try
And
crazy
like
things.
that's when they were also like ending the different runs and just like making way for the new shit.
Yeah. They knew that they were building up
Um
to Rebirth. It was probably about a year before Rebirth hit. That it was during like that year.
it was exactly a year before
Yeah.
because DCU started in 2015 with at the beginning of Convergence, and then
Yeah.
all the new all the fucked up shit that happens, Dark Side War,
D-
the final days of Superman.
Yeah.
And then the final days of Superman. Right after that was Rebirth.
Do you want to talk a little bit about Convergence?
Um,
You want to explain
uh,
it for the kids in the back?
so Convergence was like
It's important. Like
I,
otherwise I wouldn't like
it,
try to
it
go
was
for
to
it.
me to me it's basically DC's Secret Wars.
Yeah. That's a great way to
I think
describe
that
it. I never thought of it that way.
yeah, because like so Convergence was basically a battle royale from Telos, who's like Brainiac's protege, who went back in time through different realities and picked and choose what realities to bring onto its a separate planet outside the universe.
Yeah.
And then here was discontinued timelines like the universe where they're all animals.
Yeah.
I
Flashpoint.
forget
With Captain Carrot,
with Captain Carrot,
who
and
is
then the turtle.
Banff.
Yeah. And then Flashpoint is there.
Yeah.
Thomas Wayne being Batman.
Which I think was a big
Subject
selling
One.
point.
Yeah, it definitely was.
It's why
And
I
then
read it.
they had like a lot of new pre-52 realities there, which were like I didn't understand a lot of like why it was like sold as they were different timelines when it was all just pre-52.
Yeah.
They had Red Sun there,
Yeah.
like the communist
Which
Superman.
is wild because I don't think they've ever had them in anything outside of just that story
Um,
before that.
uh, Final Crisis.
Was he in Final Crisis?
He was in Final Crisis.
I should have known that. Everyone's in Final Crisis.
And all the Supermen are in Final
Yeah,
Crisis.
exactly.
Um,
And then everyone's in Dark Knight's Death Metal.
yeah. And
Literally.
then they had the Earth 2, like the New 52 Earth 2 people.
Oh, that's I forgot all. Okay, pause for a second. New 52 Earth 2 is for me a highlight of the New 52. I
Really?
cuz I loved how they reimagined these like Justice Society characters
Hmm.
because the Justice Society wasn't around in the New 52, right?
Yeah,
Like
like there was
they
there
got
was nothing with them.
they got written out of continuity because heroes have only been around for 5 years. Was the idea. It was like, hey, we don't want history. We want easily understandable plots for our readers to like latch onto.
Hmm.
Makes sense. Um, you have to accept that Batman has done everything that Batman has ever done within 5 years, but it
Yet
makes sense.
Superman has done everything.
Yeah, but Superman's
Um,
continuity was like rewritten, so you can accept it.
yeah.
Batman's continuity wasn't, so it's like you have
Oh, I
30
thought we were
plus
talking
years.
about their Earth 2 counterparts.
No, well, I we are, but like I'm just talking about the New 52 in general
Okay, yeah,
because we're
because
talking about like how the JSA isn't involved in the
yeah,
New 52.
yeah, and then
This is their JSA where you have young versions
of
um
the JSA.
of the JSA but completely different also.
Yeah,
Like
because
their power sets come from different places.
because the Green Lantern, Alan Scott, he's
Yeah,
not a Green Lantern. He gets his power from the
the
Green,
green. He's more of
which
Swamp
would
Thing.
which is Swamp Thing.
He's essentially Swamp Thing. Um
Um,
but he
and
looks like a Green Lantern.
I also like how with the New 52 Earth 2, it makes it so that the Justice League predated the Society
Yeah.
because Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman were first. Then Darkseid killed them all, and then the Justice Society came after them.
Yeah, it was like a new age of heroes, essentially.
Yeah,
Uh,
who didn't want to be heroes?
and I was like, okay, this is like just it's just super interesting to see these characters written in this way,
Mhm.
you know? And it went on for like a good what, 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years, like all
Yeah.
throughout the New 52 run, and then it ended with Convergence, and
Yeah.
then I think they had another limited run after Convergence,
Yes. Yeah, they did.
and I think they are the Earth 2 of the multiverse.
Yeah, that was the idea. I don't
Um,
know if they're still year 2 of the multiverse.
they are.
Can I confirm? Well, that's good. Because I would
I
love to
believe so.
see,
Yeah.
I would love to see them back in it because it was for me it was just very different. But go ahead, continue with Convergence. I'm sorry I interrupted it.
Yeah, so and then Telos basically like announces to all these different timelines of the DC universe, alternate realities, that they now have to fight to the death.
Show me
And then
what you got.
and like he pits like two different universes against each other. Like they have Flashpoint, the Flashpoint universe and their heroes fight Superman and Lois from pre-52.
Which is crazy. It's
And like
crazy. Like,
Lois is pregnant.
yeah,
And like the only reason why I'm explaining this is because
it's
this
important.
Superman and Lois is who we have now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's Lois is pregnant. Superman got his powers back. Subject One, who is the Superman of the Flashpoint Earth, kidnaps Lois Lane, brings her to Dr. Thomas Wayne, who is like too suffering from PTSD to help her giving birth. And Superman reads the doctor's books with his super reading and super comprehension to give to help Lois give birth to Jonathan Kent.
Yeah. Who is a great character, depending on who you talk
Uh,
to.
Not me. Um, and then the Secret Wars Convergence happens, like it has like its own side issues with like different Earths attacking whatever. Like the cities of the different Earths attacking each other,
Yeah.
and some losing, some winning, and you see like the repercussions from that. Um, and then it's Flashpoint, Earth 2, Superman and Lois, and the Parallax that are the mainstays at the end because they're the ones who like made it all the way through, if I believe.
Yeah, but
Like
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think because why am I having a hard time here?
it was also Supergirl and Barry Allen's Flash before the Anti-Monitor.
They were there? Really?
Yeah, yeah, because Talos had taken them out of time, and then by the end, he was like, "Okay, cool, we're gonna put the universe right, but you guys have to go back to where you've died or are supposed to die."
Oh yeah, he set him back.
Yeah, he sent Parallax is the one who had the power because like this Parallax is like God level,
Hmm.
and he's the one who helps Telos send back Barry Allen and Supergirl to Crisis to where
Yeah,
they died. And then
which we
also
talked about last
puts
episode.
yep, and then also puts Superman, Lois, and Jonathan Kent into like their own reality bubble
Yeah,
that doesn't get worked out until Rebirth, where you see what happens with them.
which is cool. So good.
Um, and then yeah, and then Convergence ends. Earth 2 gets a brand new Earth because theirs was destroyed by Darkseid.
Yeah.
And that's how Convergence ends, right?
Yeah, that's how I remember it.
Um,
And then just a very brief description of Dark Side War. Uh like what comes out of it. I don't remember very well.
Darkseid War. So they all become the gods of different things, like the
Yeah.
new gods.
Yes.
Um, Superman becomes the new god of Apocalypse.
Batman rides the Mobius chair.
Yep, that's what he learns of there being three Jokers.
Yeah. God of Wisdom.
And he also tortures Joe Chill in his jail,
Oh, that was
and then immediately made him forget. that he told him who he was.
Yeah, I remember reading that.
Um, which brought me back to I'm not sure if you watched Batman: The Brave and the Bold.
Some episodes,
There was
not
like
all of them.
one episode where Batman unmasked himself to Joe Chill, and it was like, yeah, no, the parents you killed, they were my parents. You made me Batman. And Joe Chill kind of went to the villains and was like, oh my God, I'm the one who did it. I'm the reason Batman's here. And then all the villains collectively agree, you're the reason why we're in so much shit all the time. We're gonna kill you. And Batman lets it happen.
That's dark. It's a dark episode
Yeah,
of Brave and the Bold.
right? But
that
it happened.
that show is like what TVY7?
Yeah, it was a heavy kid show,
What the
but not
fuck?
that episode because they were getting canceled.
Oh, I guess yeah. If it's that hard, then I mean, fuck it, why not? Right?
Um, Green Lantern, back to Dark Side Work. Green Lantern
Yes.
became the God of Light,
Easy. That's too easy.
but then he was the one who immediately gave that up.
Yeah.
Superman did not give up the apocalypse powers, and that's when he was like all black with the white outlines, and
Yeah.
this was like the start of Superman's fall, because that being depowered, kryptonite poisoning wrecked his cellular structure, and in the final days of Superman, the New 52 Superman dies.
Yeah. Not in like
Um,
a super epic way either.
no,
He just kind of dies.
he gets Thanos snapped. He gets dusted.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Wonder Woman. I don't remember what happens with Wonder Woman.
I mean, she's the god of war.
Yeah. Actually, I think at this point she loses the title because Ares comes back. You'd have to read the Wonder Woman thing. She
Yeah.
goes from being the God of War to not to Bat. It was confusing. I'm gonna have to reread it again.
Barry Allen becomes
Um,
like the god of death.
yeah, he becomes the Red Racer.
Yeah, because the red is that what they called him?
Yeah, that's what they called him, the Red Racer,
I thought the
because
I thought the red
because the
racer was the Batman Flash or no, the Red Death was never mind.
yeah, that he was Red Death.
He was Red
Red
Death.
Racer because the death entity for the new gods is called the Black Racer.
Ion. Ancient lamentation music intensifies. I'm
And
glad
then
you
they
got
they
that
get
one.
into it. They got into it with the Dark Side. And then is Dark Side already dead in Dark Side War?
Yeah, I mean,
And
he
Gale,
as dead as he ever is.
his daughter, then gives birth to a new him.
I mean, here's the thing about
No, no, no.
like,
Oh, it's not Gale. It's Earth 3 Superwoman who gives birth to the new Dark Side.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so the baby
Lois
becomes the
Lane.
new Dark Side. Lois Lane from Earth 3, who's evil, who is Superwoman, has been pregnant this whole time. 3 years since Forever Evil, she's been pregnant. And
Yeah,
then they finally pay it off with it being Dark Side Seed, where
yeah,
where it was like, is it Owlman's kid? Is it Ultraman's kid? Is it Mazash's? Like that, the reverse of Shazam?
yeah, yeah.
Is it his kid? But no, it's Darkseid's kid, who is the reincarnation of Darkseid.
Yep. It's
And then the Darkseid War also does not have a great ending.
no,
Like the
it
heroes
doesn't.
lose. The
Yeah,
heroes lose.
I remember Dark Side War just being kind of like like a lot of the buildup is really cool,
Yeah.
and then it's like, eh,
Because
a
like
little bit.
they have this big battle. Um, anti-life is involved. Steve Trevors has the anti-life in him,
which
and then shoots it out, and then Gale, Darkseid's daughter, throws the baby in front of it to then become the new Darkseid.
yeah, I don't know why we're always going like to new length with Darkseid. He can't. He exists across all dimensions.
Yeah, I think this was just him getting a new corporeal form
Yeah, I mean, there's like
because
this.
they,
You know the theory about like a true form Darkseid, right?
yeah, it's
How
a
like
40, yeah,
yeah, how every Darkseid that we've seen so far is just
that
like
universe's interpretation of him.
yeah, it's not him. Like there is a Darkseid out there that is like the primordial
Yeah, it
force that is way
Darkseid,
stronger than any Darkseid that we've seen.
Darkseid exists in the Omniverse.
We should draw a diagram. That's the thing because it's so
There
complicated.
are diagrams for this.
Yeah,
But yeah, so Darkseid War ends in a really weird way. The heroes lose all their buffs that they've gotten during this time.
yeah.
Um, and
Doesn't
then
Batman still sit in the Mobius chair for a while though?
no, he gives it up at Darkseid War
But he found out about the Three Jokers thing.
in his own like
Yeah,
Batman Darkseid
yeah.
War.
That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
yeah.
because
He they
they
all
talk
give
about it in the
up their special
Rebirth one
powers.
shot.
Yeah, they all
Um,
get rid of their special powers. And then the New 52 ends right around the time with Superman's death.
yeah, which is like
Um,
I think realistically best way to end it.
yeah, because they kind of retconned it so that the pre-52 Superman and Lois
I've been
with baby
watching.
Jonathan have always been there. And then with the first fight with Darkseid, Superman almost came out because he wasn't sure that these new heroes
Yeah,
could step up to the challenge.
but let's get into Rebirth. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Rebirth one shot to start
Yeah, with Wally West.
with Wally West. So during the New 52, uh, Wally West, the original Kid Flash, the second, or I guess third, uh, Flash after Barry Allen, um, the Flash of the, well, I guess any time before 2011 and after 1985.
Yep,
Uh,
also the Flash of the cartoons.
yeah, he's the Flash that if you grew up in like the 90s, 2000s era, that's the Flash that you know.
Yeah,
Um,
from Justice League, the
yeah.
show in Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah, he was uh written out, but it actually looked like he had just been changed to a different character completely because there is a Wally West in the New 52 who is there's it's a black teenager who like people were like, "Oh, okay, I guess they just changed Wally West for a while."
Yep.
Like cuz it just seemed like they changed the character. It turns out they are cousins, both named after their grandfather, and the Wally West that we know from before the New 52 has been missing for 5 years.
Yeah, because
Um,
in
he's been trapped in the Speed
Flashpoint
Force.
run, he that's when he gets trapped in the Speed Force.
Yeah. But what happens is he just starts that there is a Rebirth one shot that kicks off the entire like line wine rebranding. It's this new initiative of melding the New 52 stuff with the uh pre New 52 stuff, pre Flashpoint era comics, like the best things that people loved about both. And it stars Wally West coming back into continuity essentially. Like he is just keep running. He's kind of at his wits end. His like mind is starting to go, and he's
Yeah, he's
reaching
going
out to the
insane.
yeah. He's going insane, and he's flickering in and out of existence.
And
Um,
what was it that he's looking for? His they
this is,
explained it whenever he went his anchor point.
he's looking for his lightning rod.
Yep.
Which is something that like all Flashes do. It's like a big part of the Flash mythos that like Barry Allen's lightning rod is Iris West because she's like the love of his life. Like there are people that serve as like this reminder to keep coming back away from the Speed Force because it's something that you could get trapped in and like get confused about. You know, it's a place where you can lose yourself. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna go pop up
The
in
first
front
person he
of.
goes to is Batman.
Yeah, he pops up in front of Batman, who is looking. He pops up in front of people, and we'll just be pull back the writing curtain here. He pops up in front of people that they want you to know about for like the rebirth, like what they're looking at. And
Yep, and
Batman's
like
looking at the
a
three
peek a
Jokers
peek
thing.
into a peek into like the underlying things that are going to be talked about later on
Yeah,
in like their own separate runs.
yeah. And Batman's like looking at the three Jokers on his screen. That's it's like, hey, oh, there are three Jokers. Oh my god, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
remember that.
Remember that
We're
it's
keeping that.
we're gonna hold on to that. We're gonna put it in a pocket, and we're gonna do an episode about it probably
Two
soon.
years 2 years later.
2 years later, we're gonna do it 2 years later. That's funny. Um, but he goes to Batman. He appears briefly, and Batman doesn't know who the fuck he is.
Yep.
He goes to he appears like across like the DC
Yeah,
like
he
line of
pops up in front
comics.
of Batman. I think he pops up in front of Nightwing
Yes, he does pop in front of Nightwing, and
because
Nightwing
they
doesn't know
were
who he
best
is.
friends.
Yeah.
And then he pops up in front of his not wife, Linda Allen.
Oh no! Wait, doesn't he go to Iris first,
I don't.
or does he go
Oh,
to
he
Iris?
does.
Yeah, he goes to Iris. He
I think
appears
he
in front
does
of
go to
Iris.
Iris.
Who is
But
his
like,
aunt?
but like one of the last people is his wife, who was
Yes,
supposed to be his wife.
he goes to his wife, and she doesn't. She's like, "Oh, I'm so glad to be back," and she's like, "Who are you?" And it basically makes him almost like die.
Yeah, that I think that's what broke him right then and there because
Yeah,
pre-52 he had a wife and 2 kids,
yeah. Oh my god, it's so horrible. And he doesn't remember that
which
he has kids for like the first like half of the
rebirth. Yeah,
rebirth because it's not like Wally West is unaffected by the changes to continuity. He's younger, like there's a bunch of stuff, but he goes and after like that he goes to Barry Allen and he's saying his goodbyes like because he doesn't think Barry can remember him. He's just like, hey, I just want to say like thank you for like making me like the
teaching me how to be
Flash,
the
like
Flash.
yeah, like because Barry Allen like is like a father to him because his like Wally West's like home life was horrible. Like
Yep.
his parents were horrible people.
Yeah, and
Um,
like I almost thought they were just gonna let Wally West go in that issue.
would have been wild. Would have been so
Um,
wild. But then at the last second, as he's eking out of
you,
existence,
you just hear Barry go,
he goes
Wally?
Wally, and then he grabs him, and Wally is like he's grounded in the new
Yep.
rebirth
Fully
universe.
materialized in the DC universe.
Yes.
And that's
Um.
when all the memories come like smacking right back into Barry.
Yeah.
And he's like, how the fuck could I forget you?
Yeah. And so like that's how we kick off rebirth. It's Wally West comes back in a big way, becomes his own Flash again, and
Yep, gets a new suit,
yeah, gets a
red
new suit,
suit,
which looks dope.
silver.
I like
Um,
the rebirth redesigns that they did because
oh yeah.
they're more traditional DC. Like they kind of like did the newer art style, the more modern stuff that we've become used
Um,
to, and like touched up the old costumes
they gave
overall.
Superman a new suit which melded pre-52 and new 52 together, which
We're
is
gonna have to talk about Superman Reborn at some point, but uh
I think Superman Reborn, the button,
the big
um
events is what we have to talk about.
yeah, those are like it's their own mini episodes.
Yeah, but we need to like touch on them a little bit because they're related. Let's not. We won't go into it. Let's just say there are events that lead you to understand that one, Wally West was not only like not only did like the universe change, but Wally West was not kicked out of the universe because of those changes. It was a kind of a B list villain uh,
Um,
named Abracadabra.
yeah, yeah. And then
Yeah,
like the overarching cause of Flashpoint was an old DC comic run, Watchmen.
which
It's
is has never been part of DC continuity, by the way.
but is now
Is now.
uh Dr.
Oh,
Manhattan fucking with the timeline
yeah.
is what at Flashpoint, at the end of Flashpoint, that there's like this blue overarching page, and that's him
Yes.
merging the timelines.
There is like this there is this overarching thing from the beginning of Rebirth that we don't. Okay, I have a bone to pick with Doomsday Clock. Not the comic itself, but how they rolled it out. Right? You know what I mean?
Very inconsistently.
Very fucking cuz I'm going to go ahead and search it. I want to make sure I get my dates right cuz
Because
DC
Doomsday Clock issued in 2018, but ended in 2019 because of comic backlogs, and just made the whole thing confusing. Because Doomsday Clock
it
is
was
this major thing.
it was 12 issues. It actually started in 2017, November of 2017 and ended December of 2019. That's literally 2 years. It's 12 issues and it's telling you the DC comics like why Watchmen are involved at all. And it's the only time that Watchmen are like actually involved. It's tying up
Yep.
that storyline. And it's the comic itself is really fucking cool. Okay?
But the way
You
they
should
doled
read
it
it.
out was horrible.
Yeah, but like because of like scheduling issues, I think they had like release problems. I don't think this was the plan. The series
No.
was gonna take like so. Here's what happened. It was gonna scheduled to be released monthly and end in December of 2018, a whole year before it actually ended. Uh, it was in 2018 January. It was announced that the series would take a break in March and April before coming back in May and switching to bi-monthly, which makes it end in July 2019. But then issues were pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, and to the point where the final issue, issue 12, came out in December of 2019. Right? So you have this you have this huge universe changing comic, right? Like because it changes things within
Yeah.
the universe timeline. It's important. It's an important comic. It's an important story, and it's well written. I think it's well written. I liked it,
Yeah, it definitely is well written.
but
Um,
it
the
comes
execution
in.
was just horrible.
Yeah, the timing. This is all. This has nothing to do with the comic itself. This is how it was released. Okay,
Yeah, because
like
and then another issue that I have with Doomsday Clock is that the repercussions from the end of Doomsday Clock before it ends are already made apparent in the other single runs.
yes, and then for other runs, no one knew how it was going to end. Like there wasn't a lot of communication. It feels like there was a lot of stuff going on with DC editorial that made this series a, I guess, in games they call it development hell. I can't think of a better term for it.
Yeah,
And it's amazing that this came out as well as it did, but yeah, so what you need to know in terms of like the Watchmen stuff is that we have Superman's parents are dead, right? In New 52. There's a lot of like things that have changed because of that with the Superman character. Then we get pre New 52 Superman back, and we start to realize that the Watchmen are involved in the DC universe. Like things have changed, and it's not just because of Barry Allen running back in time. And then we have an event where the Watchmen universe essentially like is falling apart. Uh and it like Dr. Manhattan seems to have like just yeeted, and they go to
Yep.
look for him. They go and find him in the DC universe. The characters from Watchmen, Osmandius and a new Rorschach, and two other characters who, yeah, you don't
Yeah,
care about. It's not important.
Mime, Mr. Mime, and the other girl.
Yeah, Mr. Mime, the Pokemon. Um,
Yes.
they go to find him. They kind of team up with Batman and Lex Luthor.
Yep.
Um, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Lex Luthor's character arc over the entire Rebirth because I think it's important. But at this point, he's becoming evil again. It seems like
Yeah,
it
because
seems like
the new Superman
he's not all
is
there,
here.
but he's becoming evil again.
Yeah, and then
Um,
because like he does the Superman of Metropolis run
yeah, because Lex
where
Luthor at the
he's in
beginning
this.
of new thing is still a hero. At the beginning of Rebirth is still a hero.
Yep, and he's like in this Iron Man, Superman suit,
He's like, I'm the Superman now.
powered by a mother box,
Yeah, it's
and then
I
he
think it's
has
interesting as a character
and
thing.
then he has the New 52 Superman's cape, and that's his symbol. And then Superman Lois, who is back from pre 52, takes major offense to this because Lex Luthor is inherently evil.
Yeah, he's his greatest villain. But we'll talk about
And
that more in a second. Let's finish up the Doomsday Clock stuff because I want to tie it up in a nice bow until we
yeah,
unwrap it later.
yeah.
This
So
is
Dr. Manhattan is
yeah.
basically playing hopscotch with mainly Superman.
He's moving Superman like from he so Dr. Manhattan arrives. He watches Superman appear for the first time
Yep, in 1939.
in 1938.
Oh,
And he goes, "Wow, this is wild. Like there's so much hope here." Kind of like
mm-hmm.
um he's kind of enamored with the universe and like over time like he sees like a change. So every time Superman has been like ridden forward in time, the explanation is that it's Dr. Manhattan
Moving him
moving
forward in
him
time.
forward in time. Like it's the reason why Superman's not like almost 100 years old. Is that Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Manhattan is like having the events unfold again and again and again. And we find out that the reason that there is no Justice Society is because Dr. Manhattan moved the Green Lantern ring like 2 inches over.
Oh,
When
he moved like
yeah,
certain events that would have made them the heroes that they are.
I think specifically what he said was, I moved this 2 inches out of his reach at, so he couldn't reach it in the train crash and he dies. Alan Scott dies in a train crash and doesn't become Green Lantern, which leads to the Justice Society never forming and
Yep.
heroes don't like not it doesn't happen. So Clark Kent on his way to prom never hears stories of the JSA and doesn't like embrace that side of himself to save his parents from the car crash. He doesn't like he's restricting himself.
Yep.
So that's why Superman's parents are dead because the Justice Society never existed. And yeah. So what Doomsday Clock does is it basically sets things right. Like he moves the ring back. He like the Justice Society exists. Um the Legion of Superheroes in the
Or
future
come back. Yeah.
come back. Um and like somewhere in the DC multiverse, Watchmen's universe uh is there. It's
Yeah,
one of
it
the
is now
Earths.
included into the DC multiverse.
Yeah, and we won't see that. We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
Um,
the last we saw of Dr. Manhattan is him reverting himself to a child
Yeah. I think it's
and
like,
naming himself Clark Kent.
yeah, it's a very strange moment where he shows up at uh what is it, Owlman? Not Owlman from Watchmen, not Owlman from Earth 3.
Okay,
I think he shows up
I'd
at
have
his
to
house.
reread Doomsday Clock.
Yeah, I think that's what happens. Anyway, he's like, I was sent so you could raise me, and it's super awkward and uncomfortable.
And then he's like,
But
"Yep, my name's Clark Kent.
yeah,
How you doing?"
and it's like it's kind of like a love letter to Superman. Doomsday
Yeah.
Clock, like it's like, hey, Doctor Manhattan loves Superman. That's what it felt like to me reading it at the time. Like it was like, okay, this guy has a boner for Superman.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Um, now that we talked about that, we need to go into the metal event. I think the first metal event a little bit, unless
Um,
there's something you want to like touch on before. I think that kind of wraps up. Hey, that's why Watchmen is involved in Rebirth. It took a long time for us to get that.
mhm.
Like,
And I think that also kind of brings to date the DC comic timeline, because
uh,
for me at least, because um, Dark Knight's Metal is just like, okay, we set things right with Rebirth, and now we're going on with more new shit.
well, the thing about Rebirth is nothing changes except for Wally West coming back. Like, it's not like it's still the New 52 timeline when Wally West comes back. Nothing happened. Like the
I mean, but like
characters are just
it said a
different.
lot of things right, because they had the Rebirth Titans run where
With Wally West bringing their memories back. Like
yeah, and
the
like
things that
what
involve him, like surrounding like the Flash and like that, is all pretty much brought to like almost pre New 52.
yeah, and like with it, it's like it's with the new Superman, the new old Superman,
Yeah.
and Wally West, because like the new super the and the Superman, the new status quo Superman.
Superman.
Yeah, he knows who Wally West is.
Yeah, which is a great. It's a great moment where like he's like, "Hey, Wally," and he's like, "Okay, bye," and it's like, "Good to see you again." It's like
Yeah,
that
and then
motherfucker
Wally has to
remembers me,
run.
and he runs
Yeah,
after
Wally
him.
runs back and was like, wait, hold on. You know who I am?
It's so
And Superman
good.
just kind of gives him that dumb look. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, you're
you're
Wally West.
you're the Flash.
You're Kid Flash. You were the Flash. Then you got de-aged. And then you got up-aged. Where's your wife and kids? My what?
Yeah, but the Wally West story is very sad. I think we could talk
Yeah,
about it at some other point.
yeah.
I,
Because
I, I, could, I could do a Heroes in Crisis episode.
yeah.
I did a
We could
Heroes in
do
Crisis fucking project for my capstone in college.
yeah. Um, and then also with Superman, uh, kind of going into Superman Reborn.
Okay, explain
Um,
Superman Reborn in like 3 sentences, 4 sentences. Make it simple.
um, so
It's
we have
complicated. Make it simple.
pre 52 Superman trying to fill 52 Superman's boots, but this universe does not know pre 52 universe Superman. No one trusts him, and Superman Reborn works to meld the timeline of both of them to make them back into one Superman.
A rebirth Superman, essentially.
Yeah, so this Superman has the memories of both pre 52 events, like the Crisis events, and everything up to New 52, and now including all of the events of New 52. So he
Yep.
remembers the Dark Side War. He remembers fighting Darkseid with the Justice League. But that it also gets tricky because like he remembers him watching it, but now he also remembers him fighting it.
Yeah, it's complicated. It
But
like
they just merge the two characters
they just
together.
go, "Hey, these characters are the same now. Lois Lane also gets merged with Pre New 52 Lois Lane. It's like, okay, these characters are
After she gets
same.
murked, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, well,
because
both
like,
those characters are dead. It's just their essence.
yep.
Uh,
Um,
so and it's
and so
like,
they
okay,
merged the two Loises and the two Supermans into one full continuity and revamped Superman's suit. Um, Lois Lane doesn't get a revamped suit.
sad.
Um, she was Superwoman for a while
I
in
know,
the New 52.
which was I think a pretty fucking cool run.
And then she died. Um,
Yeah,
and so and
too much
Superman Reborn is
superpower.
just saying these two Supermen are now one and the same. Everything that happened in the past is canon, most of it. Let's move on.
People will remember that they had a kid together.
Yeah,
It's like it's just making it so like everyone treats these characters as they are, not
yeah,
like as
because
like some
in the
outsiders.
first
It's
few issues of Justice League, Batman did not like this Superman
yeah, for like the first year, there's like this air of
animosity.
distrust because I get and Lois Lane. One of the things that she does is, um, because the Pre 52 Lois Lane dies and no one knows. The Pre 52
She
Lois
just
Lane
takes her place.
reached out to the Pre 52 Lois Lane, the new 52 Lois Lane. Sorry, Lois Lane 2 reached out to Lois Lane original flavor and was like, "Hey, I'm looking into something. Like, I need help, quote unquote." And then
Hmm.
when new Lois Lane uh died, old Lois Lane started going into work.
Yeah, she just took her place
Yeah,
immediately after she died.
yeah. Um, and she's interacting with these people that she knows but doesn't know. Like people are
Yep.
different because she's not from this universe. But it basically, like, yeah, Superman Reborn basically takes up. You went.
Yep. Sorry about that.
It's funny. Superman Reborn basically takes all that and shoves the continuity together without much thought. It's just like just accept it. It's one of
Yep.
those.
And then
It's one of those comic
they
things that you just go, okay.
and I did like the way they did it because they did bring back not a Superman villain per
A
se
Superman like
fan.
frenemy,
Yeah, Mr. Mixoplixig,
Mixes Plitalik.
who was also missing in the New 52, and
Yeah,
it explained why. Um, in the last no,
for the first. Oh well, because he's taken by
Jor-El.
Yeah, there's a whole thing. We're not going to get into that because it's not super important for what we're talking about, which is essentially just the crisis events.
Um,
But
but I do want to talk about
we're gonna
uh
do an episode about it though.
yeah, I do want to save Dark Knight's metal, death metal, and those for another episode though.
There's no way. Wait, do you have to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we touched on the we touched on Rebirth and a bit of the New 52.
Yep.
Next week we're gonna talk about the metal events and um yeah, and just where the DC continuity is now.
Yep.
Uh,
So a quick look into Dark Knight's metal,
yeah.
uh, which it heavily, more than heavily,
Wait. Let's. Here's what we should do. Let's give them reading list to lead up to Dark Knight's Metal. What could you
for
read
Dark
in the
Knight's metal.
next week that would be like would help you understand Dark Knight's Metal? I think Bruce Wayne Road Home.
Yep.
Um, the some other stuff for Dark Knight's Metal. You need that Bruce Wayne the Road Home because after Bruce Wayne dies in Final Crisis, that is the event that like directly kind of goes, "Hey, Dark Knight's Metal,"
Hmm.
retroactively. If you were to read some of the No, not New 52. The Rebirth Batman run.
Yeah, I would lead with the Rebirth Batman run and Detective Comics.
Yes,
And then also a little bit of the 2016 Justice League run for Rebirth.
yes, yes. Oh yeah, wasn't
Yeah,
yeah,
so
because that's what
the
leads into it mostly.
yep, Justice League Rebirth, Batman Rebirth, Detective Comics Rebirth,
And Bruce Wayne. Is it
Road
Road
Home.
Home? I'm gonna look it up real quick just to make sure. Yes, it's Bruce Wayne, The Road Home. It's December 2010. It's 9 issues. You could find it collected. I think it's probably on Comixology Unlimited.
Yep,
Like,
all of it is on
you
Comixology.
know what? If you want to just read like the first issues of some like Rebirth comics, go to Comixology. They're almost all like the first volume of almost everything is on there for free once you get
Yep.
the unlimited. Um,
And
but
Dark
yeah,
Knight's Metal was so great that Spotify has a soundtrack, an album that you listen to while you're reading.
what are
You
you
didn't know
fuck?
that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Dark
Are
Knight's
you
Metal on
fucking with me?
Spotify has its own like its own created playlist by artists, like commissioned for Dark Knight's Metal that you listen to while you're reading it.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do over the next week. You and me are gonna touch up on the Dark Knight's Metal, the Justice League run that leads up to um, Death Metal, and some of the DC stuff that's happening right now.
Because
Whatever you're interested in.
like Dark Knight's Metal is like its own event, but also the things that come out of it, like uh just to mention them, the different dark multiverse Batman.
Oh, the Elseworld stories, which we will. I think we just do an episode on the Elseworlds, like
Yeah, and like the Batman
Batman.
that come out of Metal, along with like the repercussions of Metal
Yeah,
into Death Metal, are just amazing, and that is also like another like hour and a half, 2 hours to break that down.
yeah,
So that's why I want to save it for another episode.
yeah. You're right. All right, let's. I guess we'll end it here. Thanks for joining us
Yep,
this
thank you as
week.
always.
It's a lot of fun, as always. I love talking about comics with you, my friend.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Um,
This is a highlight of my week every week now.
yeah, no, like I'm like I look forward to this every week now. It's like I
Mm-hmm.
just get to nerd out and I read things and I'm like, fuck. Oh man,
Yeah.
Detective Comics Rebirth is so funny.
Yeah, and like
Who can I talk
it
about this with?
and it does such justice to mainly Tim Drake, Detective Comics Rebirth.
Which is why I like it so much because I'm a fucking Red Robin fan. I have
Yeah,
his
and
like his own series that he had. I was like a really big fan,
mhm,
and so I like seeing Tim Drake back in this kind of dominant role.
yep, where
Um,
he's the detective Batman can only
Dream
aspire to
to be,
reach to.
yeah, he's the techie Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Um,
yeah,
yeah, we'll
yeah.
save Dark Knight's Metal for next week.
Part 3 of our
And
DC Comics timeline
yep,
episodes.
and that's where we introduce my new one of my new favorite characters, the Batman Who Laughs,
Oh yeah, get excited.
which I am considering getting tattooed on me.
We're gonna talk about that off stream. Okay, bye.